Hey guys, welcome to a fresh video here on the channel. Now, this one's about Sam Walsh. This one is about the truth of Sam Walsh. And this started after a conversation I had about Sam Walsh and rhetoric that I had read from mostly fans. And also I've been reflecting on when I predicted the top 5 of the best and fairest. I didn't have him in it, and I got sucked into the recency bias about his season. And I think generally speaking, most feel that he wasn't at his best. And I think what often happens with recency bias is we look at how things ended, which in our case at Carlton was bitterly disappointing. And it can be really easy to just put a blanket over most of the players that played. Now, the thing about Sam Walsh and what's important to remember is the story and the context. And I think it is important for a reminder. So let's just remind ourselves this is his 6th season, which means we are approaching halfway through Sam Walsh's career, which is like another story for another day. We are talking about a guy that has had interrupted pre-seasons 3 years in a row. So I'll take you back to 2022. He misses the start of the year due to the syndesmosis injury.
Well, geez, it made Carlton supporters sick in the guts yesterday, Brad, as I'm sure it did everyone at the club. What actually happened to Sam Walsh to cause the injury?
Yeah, he just had a bit of a match simulation at training, and a player came across his ankle, and got caught in that bit of a contest, and he was able to carry on and finish off the session, but scans revealed that syndesmosis injury, which can take a bit of time. So it was really disappointing, unfortunate. I don't think Sam's missed hardly any footy in his footy career in general, like right as a kid. So it's new to him, but he's unbelievably resilient in the way he goes about things. But pretty disappointing.
2023 pre-season, typical Christmas week or week after we get the news. He has a back injury. He misses the first 5 games of the 2023 season after having a microdiscectomy procedure in his back, which just bad news.
Got better for a bit, but as soon as I got back into kicking ground balls, the nerve pain wouldn't stop and couldn't function. So had the surgery, and since then it's been really good. But like any surgery, it still can take 12, 24 months for it to really start feeling good again. But
goes on in both of those seasons to have really strong years, by the way. 2024, the back injury flares up.
How many weeks, Sam Walsh?
Yeah, it's a good question, isn't it? Well, at least another week and a half on a modified program, because Carlton have now ruled Sam Walsh out of their official pre-season game against Melbourne. That's next Wednesday. We know he won't play tomorrow's hit-out against Geelong due to back soreness. So he's on the modified program. But I'm told Dwayne's still running, said to be a world away from where he was with his back problems, this time last year where he couldn't even walk, and did end up having the surgery in pretty much a non-existent pre-season. So he's a long way from that. He's doing modified running at the moment. Will be reassessed leading into opening round, and the head of football down there, Brad Lloyd, just released a statement to say we will take a no-risk approach with Sam's return to play. Therefore, he will not feature in the upcoming practice games.
We know that he misses the start of the 2024 season. And so I think coming out of 2023, he finishes the season strongly, wins the Gary Ayres medal for the best finals player, even though we didn't play in the grand final. We all remember his goals against the D's, and I think that built the hype about Sam Walsh, and rightly so. I mean, guy's a gun. He's a star of the competition.
Back to Kennedy. Kennedy to Walsh. Walsh with a right foot banana. They've hit the front, the Blues.
Richard, we've spoken about the crowd. Listen to the crowd here.
Hewitt came through well. Walsh has been unbelievable. Flying shot, and he gets it. Scores tied.
In your forward 50, but also got to turn your head. Walsh is always in the corridor side, working his backside off to get down and give a second option.
Third goal from centre bounce.
And then I think naturally those expectations just grew. And I mean, I know myself, after that final series, I had declared, this guy's our best player. Like he is Carlton's best player and gets a full preseason. We're talking about Brownlow, Sam Walsh, and I remember that, and I think that has a big part to play with why there is a thought that his season was disappointing. Now, if we look at his year, there was doubt surrounding his start time for 2024. We thought he might be available for opening round. Eventually, he just wasn't available for opening round. We get to the 13th of March, and this is where we hear that surgery is on the cards if we aren't going to see progression.
Sam Walsh, I was told by someone at Carlton last week that watching him run is like watching an old man run. Next week is crunch time for him too, because when he attempts to bend the ball, tackle, kick, that is still a big challenge for Sam Walsh. If he doesn't get through the next week or two, that's when surgery will start to be discussed around Sam Walsh. So we hold our breath. We hope that the Blues can get one of their best young players back, but the next week is a hold your breath for the Blues.
And so there was a split feeling amongst the fan base and I guess just the Carlton community in general, like, wow, like what is going on? Are we going to see Sam Walsh this year? What can we expect from him? It was pretty bleak in my view, to be honest, given as soon as surgery is being spoken about again, I'm thinking, wow, what's happened? Now that we've gotten to the end of 2024, now that Andrew Russell is gone, I guess there's some sort of accountability that has to go there around his program. Is there mismanagement? I think the answer has to be yes. There's clearly some level of mismanagement, and clearly there was some mistakes made with how he prepared. Now, you put all of the elements into this situation. Sam Walsh listening to his body, learning how to listen to his body. The program, what were they doing? Was he doing more strength work? Who knows? I guess maybe one day we'll read about it in a book.
Definitely for the on-field stuff with my back, I probably learned that I used to go in the morning at the club and just do like half an hour of touch, ground balls, kicking, and just try and smash that before training. And for me, like, the more the better. When a few of the injuries crept in, it's probably what can I do to work on my body, whether it be the Pilates before training, certain stretching, activation to get my body right, and then go out and perform on the track. So that was a big lesson on field.
Clearly there was mismanagement and dysfunction around whatever happened with him. He misses opening round. We then finally get to see him play against the Crows. And to be honest, if you watch the previous video with his highlights, you'll see like he was excellent in his first game back. And in actual fact, he received Brownlow votes in his first couple of games. He was just awesome and we missed him. And you feel he's a really interesting player because when he's not there, you clearly can see it throughout the midfield. And then he comes back and then pretty quickly we get spoiled because he plays at such a high level. He wins so much of the ball and he's like a possessed man the way he plays the game. And before you know it, we're almost underrating his impact in the team. So going through his season, I actually found myself saying like, wow, he actually had a really good year considering what happened and considering the context of his year. And for whatever reason, I feel like the context around his year is being forgotten about because people are way too focused thinking about his kicking efficiency. Now, the facts are the facts. 50% kicking efficiency in 2024, that's the lowest of his career. The highest was 63 odd, and that was in 2021 when he was playing a little bit more of an outside role. But what we saw from Sam Walsh in 2024 was a guy whose defensive numbers were as high as they've ever been. And for whatever reason, it's not sexy to talk about. We don't want to talk about that. We want to see goal kicking mids. I think not just us as Carlton fans, but I think the footy public in general. Comparisons happen all the time. It used to be Connor Rosey. Now it seems to be a bit of Nick Dacos, and we sort of try and box him into this player that he is or he isn't. He kicked 5 goals for the year, which is, the equal lowest for his career. I did mention earlier as well, like his ability to spread. That was a big difference as well. We didn't see as much of that spread from Sam Walsh. 3 marks a game, which is the lowest of his career. He had 5.7 per game in 2021. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing because sometimes you can just be running to space to get cheap ball. But the big feature of Walsh's game early on in his career was his ability to spread and provide an option around the ground to help us move the ball. So there's that. But you got to look at what he did. So you got to look at what his role was. Now, the big difference around his game was clearly more of an inside focus, more of a contested game as a focus for him. career high in tackles, 6.75 a game. Funnily enough, for all the talk about him impacting and getting the territory game going, 394 metres gained per game, which was the highest of his career. So still being able to generate the ball movement for us. And again, it's the defensive numbers and the pressure acts that just don't get spoken about. We are a team that focuses on, contested pressure. And I think that is the evolution of Sam Walsh. He became a little bit more of a clearance guy than what he was a running power guy. And that might have been by design. I don't know what the plans are for him and the role for him moving forward. I also don't know how much of an impact losing Chera had on Sam Walsh, because we didn't get to see Adam Chera play for a good chunk, most, I would say, of the season, or half of the season. So there's a few elements in here that aren't getting spoken about. And so when I put it all together and I watched his highlights, I thought, wow, why are we sleeping on Sam Walsh? Why is there this disappointment about his year? I thought he had a really good year. And I think he's one of the few that we can give a big tick to, considering another interrupted preseason. And so it all comes back to his health and his program, and how do we, as a club, put a program in place to make sure that this off-season is truly the best one for him. Now, accidents happen, tackles happen, collisions happen in training. So notwithstanding that, how can we make sure that we learn what we need to learn from the last few seasons of Sam Walsh, knowing how he trains, knowing the level that he trains, knowing the injuries that he's had? Because I just look at the numbers and I think, wow, you have a full preseason, you get through every session, tick every box. We're talking about a guy that can play at the level of Patrick Cripps in his Brownlow year. I truly believe it. And I think having Adam Chera back will have something to say around Walsh's role. I think whoever pick 3 will be, hopefully that player can come in and work with Walsh and link up with him. We've spoken about Elijah Hollands potentially playing more of a midfield role. So I don't know. It's pretty strange that I felt the need to make this video and dive deeper into Sam Walsh, who is a guy that is almost underrated given what he endured and overcame in 2024. So what's your view on Sam Walsh's 2024? Now that the dust has settled, and, if you haven't watched the best of Sam Walsh and his highlights, the link will be in the description. Check out his highlights and look at the way he's moving, and, drop a comment below around your thoughts about his season. Was it as bad as what it's being made out to be? Why do you think the back injury in the preseason seems to be brushed over as not part of the story of his year? And what do you think the best of Sam Walsh looks like in 2025? Interested to get your thoughts. Chat to you soon.
Back door. Here's Pitnet. Got it back to Walsh, who followed up his own good work. Isn't he a star? Isn't he a star, Sam Walsh?
And the finishing work is just elite. Not all midfielders can do that. That's his first goal of the year, and he was pretty happy with it. Told the boys.
Walsh, can Cripps do it again? What is that?
Grant Cripps, can they make them pay? Walsh here, beautiful poise, great composure from Walsh.
And gifted it to Cripps. And that's what happens. The best teams make you...